Sam Silver, Undercover Pirate, Book 9, The Sea Monster, by Jan Burchett and Sarah Vogler. Read for you by Brandon Rees-Taylor on the Jesse Millette YouTube channel. Chapter 1. Sam Silver raced up the high street of Backwater Bay and skidded through the door of his parents' fish and chip shop. "I'm home," he yelled as he sped past his mother and up to their flat on the first floor. He was too busy to stop and chat. He was on a mission. It had been a long, hard day of spellings and maths at school, and he'd promised himself an exciting pirate adventure to help him recover. His friends had exciting pirate adventures by reading about them in books or playing computer games, but Sam had an amazing secret. He'd found a magic coin that could whisk him off to join Captain Blade's crew on board the Seawolf, a pirate ship from over 300 years ago. And the great thing was that when he was back in 1706, looking for treasure and fighting sea battles, not 1 second went by in the presence, so no one missed him, since his mum would definitely notice if he had got his school uniform blown up by cannonballs or nibbled by sharks. Sam always wore an old t-shirt and jeans on his time travels. He pulled his drawer open to find them and stopped in horror. Normally they were crumpled up at the back behind his socks. Today they were lying neatly folded right on top. And, which was worse, they'd been washed and ironed. Sam had a horrible sinking feeling, as if someone had pulled a plug in his tummy. It would have been bad enough wearing clean clothes on a pirate ship, but he'd suddenly remembered that he'd left his magic doubloon in his jeans. He'd taken the coin from the bottle on his shelf to set on an adventure last night when his mum had appeared at his bedroom door. He'd quickly shoved the coin into his pocket, and that's where it was now. At least he hoped so. Suppose it had been washed out of his jeans and into the water to disappear forever down the drain. Frantically, he searched, turning his trousers inside out and shaking them hard. Nothing. He was never going to see his buccaneer friends again. Then he realised he'd missed the tiny pocket under the waistband. He pushed his 2 fingers in. It was empty. The washing machine had eaten its precious coin. Wait a minute. What about the time he'd left a football medal among his clothes? His mum had found it in the rubber bit round the door of the machine. Maybe that's where the doubloon could be. But as Sam raced into the kitchen, he nearly fell over a man in overalls who was taking the washing machine apart. Sam's face fell. "It looks bad, doesn't it?" said the man cheerfully. "This pipe's jammed. There's something stuck in it." "What is it?" asked Sam. "Not sure," said the man. "It's hard to tell with all the muck in there." He fed a rope down the pipe. Sam held his breath. The man pulled out a lump of sludge and poked about in it. "Got it," he said at last, holding up a dirty metal disc. "It's a coin, but funny looking though." He went to give it a wipe with a cloth. "No!" cried Sam, scared that if the man rubbed it, he'd be the one to disappear back to 1706. "It's mine," he added quickly. "Thanks, I'll take it." Sam ran back to his room. He had to find out if his gold doubloon still worked. It wasn't meant to go through the wash. Its special power had probably been flushed away. He pulled on his horrible neat t-shirt and jeans, then he spat on the coin and gave it a rub. At once he was whooshed up inside a dark spinning tunnel. He'd been silly to think that the washing machine could have destroyed the magic. The coin just needed a bit of silver spit and polish. "Seawolf, here I come," he yelled. In an instant, Sam found himself sprawled across the floor of a small room, surrounded by wooden barrels and coils of rope. Awesome! He was back in the storeroom on the Seawolf. The ship was swaying beneath his feet as he put on his jerkin, neckerchief and belt and picked up his spyglass. His friend Charlie always made sure they were left there for him. Charlie was the only member of the crew who knew he came from the 21st century. The others believed that each time he disappeared, he had just dashed off to home to help his poor widowed mother on her farm. None of his shipmates thought this was odd, as pirates love their mothers more than anything else. Sam stowed the coin safely in his pocket. Then he ran out of the storeroom and made for the deck, taking the steps in 3 bounds. The crew were busy splicing ropes, mending sails and climbing the rigging. They sang a cheerful sea shanty as they worked in the hot Caribbean sunshine. Sam could see Charlie helping Ned, the boatswain, mend a broken piece of the starboard rail. Ned swung his hammer in time to the song, joining in the chorus with a booming voice. Captain Blade stood close by, peering at a map. He was pulling at the braids in his beard, deep in thought. "Head south, shipmates," he ordered. "I warrant the French treasure gallons will be coming that way." "Aye," cried a stubbly-faced man with a wooden leg. He turned the ship's wheel to set the course. "And with this fair wind we'll be meeting them before midday, or my name's not Harry Hop." "Excellent," Sam thought. "I've got back just in time for a treasure hunt." "Mainsail all correct, Captain," came a cry from above his head, and Fernando shot down the rigging, his hands and feet moving so fast they were a blur. "Do you want me on the lookout now?" "No need for that," called Sam, running to the middle of the deck. "I'm here, and ready for duty in the crow's nest." Fernando let out a Spanish exclamation and slapped Sam hard on the back, a huge grin on his face at the sight of his friend. "Sam Silver," declared the captain. "By Jupiter's chariot! How did you get to us a day's sail from land? You couldn't have swum that far." Sam was always so excited at being back on the Sea Wolf that he never remembered to think up how he might have got there. If he said that he'd popped back from 300 years in the future, they'd think he'd lost his wits. "He must have climbed aboard at Tortuga when we stopped for provisions," said Charlie, coming to his rescue as usual. "That's right," said Sam gratefully. "We never saw you," said Harry Hop, frowning. "That's because," Sam began, thinking curiously. "That's because he was asleep in the hold," said Charlie. "He was snoring like a warthog. I was surprised you didn't hear him." "I was exhausted by the time I got here," added Sam. "My mum wanted me to muck out the pigs and milk the goat before I left." "What a dutiful son," said Harry. "Your poor mother," added Ned, the boatswain, wiping away a tear. "Managing a whole farm on her own." "Well, I'm very grateful she could spare you," said the captain. "Get up into that crow's nest, lad. We need you to keep a weather eye out for the French ships laden with treasure." Sam didn't need telling twice. "Aye, aye, Captain," he cried happily.